Good evening, parents and students. Much like my friend Jeff Goldblum right here, I too feel like I am running away from a T-Rex, and that T-Rex is COVID. So, as we have all been dealing with very trying times and measures, my job is simply to help and to do the best I can to instruct your son or daughter in my college prep algebra class. So I'm trying to make it fun, interesting, lively, kind of do fun things just like this to get them involved and want to come to class because that is very trying for them. So before I get into all that fun stuff, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I went to Pencrest High School and graduated in '03. I then went to Westchester University where I got my teaching degree and then went back to get my master's in mathematics. So after that, came here, started working. I coached wrestling for many years and I also coached the Ultimate Frisbee team. So I get the whole sports thing and it kind of bums me out. But we got to kind of deal with it and roll with the punches, as they say. So let's get into it. So I think the best way to do this is for me to share my screen with you. So when your son or daughter has a Schoology class such as mine, they have a title. I gave it a pretty picture from Las Vegas. This is Red Rock Canyon Park. So they are College Prep Algebra 1. So you would click on that. And then once you're inside, you'll notice a couple things. One, upcoming homework is to the right here. You can see it. This is when it's due. Two, you'll notice the welcome screen. In here, you'll find a bunch of fun stuff like my welcome video to the students, my office hours, my contact information, resources, and facts. So feel free to click on that and explore it. Within that, you'll find my virtual link, but I found it much easier just to include that right down here. So that's a direct link to my Zoom. So whenever they have questions or class, they can always click it. And if I'm in it, they can get to me. Now let's click on the syllabus. So this syllabus for my class, it's pretty simple. We start out the year with talking about numbers, adding numbers and multiplying numbers, subtracting, dividing, squaring, all that fun stuff. Then we move into solving simple equations like one step and two step. We move after that into more complex solving equations. Might involve x's on both sides or multiple steps to solve. After that, we get to explore the coordinate plane. The coordinate plane is a fun topic. They'll plot points. We'll talk about maps and things like that. And then we get into graphing. So we'll be graphing lines and we'll be graphing systems of equations. And then hopefully we get to solving systems of equations. So that's kind of like the end of the year stuff. And if there's time, we'll get into factoring polynomials, which is always a fun topic for me. Grading. So in my class, there's grading of several topics, not many. Homework is the big one. It's the best way to boost your grade is just to stay on top of your homework. Your homework for this class is through IXL, which I will show you and break down for you. So IXL is just a web-based program, and they have to get a score of an 80 to get full credit. So homework is worth 5 points. If they do part of it, they get 3 out of 5. Okay, and what is a part of it? Well, a part has to be more than 50. And I'll talk to you about where you can find that SMART score to see how they're doing. Now, assessments, quizzes, tests, and things like that, there'll probably be a few of them in this class. So what they'll have to do is they'll log on to Schoology, there'll be a quiz or test or some type of assessment, and they'll just have to answer the questions online. They'll be allowed to use a calculator and other things like that. Now, participation. Your son or daughter participates pretty much on a regular basis, whether they want to or not, kind of make them participate because it's part of this whole class and virtual lesson thing, and it makes it fun. It makes the class go by a lot quicker. So I typically call on every student at least once per class to make sure they're there, they're getting the material, and they're following along. Projects. Yeah, there might be a few projects. I always keep it in there as a rogue thing for the kids to kind of deal with. But if we receive a project, there'll be a rubric attached to it explaining how it's graded. Now, my contact information, best way to get a hold of me is through my email. Don't come to my room, please. I beg of you. Email me instead. If you email me, I check my email like 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm awake. And like I check it before I go to bed at like 10 o'clock. And if you've emailed me, I'll get back to you pretty quickly. And if I need to call you or if you need to call me, well, I'll get a hold of you. And if you need to go hold of me, that's how you do it. That's my number. Main thing is don't hesitate to call. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any concern at all. Okay? Now, required materials, pencil and paper is best. Textbooks online if we need it. And I think they need a calculator at this point for the class. Not requiring it, but I would strongly recommend that they need a calculator. The one I use in class is a TI-83. So if they have a TI-83 or a TI-84, well, they can follow along and we can get through the stuff much easier. Do they need it? No. Is it helpful? Yes. So that's why it's not required, because you can do it without it, but strongly recommended. Now, student expectations, especially for this class, they need to be present during all virtual lessons. I understand things may arise, but if they do, the responsibility is on them to reach out to me and let me know. That's part of them being their own advocate. If they miss class for whatever reason, well, I should be included in that list. They don't have to tell me why. They just have to be like, hey, having Wi-Fi issues, or something came up, couldn't make it. They don't have to be specific, but I need to know where you're at so I know what's going on. So they need to be their own advocate. Also, part of that is if they're having a tough time, well, they should reach out and let me know. If they can't get a homework, if they spend more than 20 minutes, shoot me an email. Let me know. I'll get back to you and tell you to stop. Okay? So around 20 minutes is how long they should be spending on their homework. If they're spending longer than that, well, email me. I'll tell you what to do. Now, responsibility for making up missed work. If you miss work or class for whatever reason and you don't let me know, well then how am I to let you know what work you missed? So you gotta let me know that you missed class. I'll tell you what you missed and we'll make a plan to make up that work. I might even say, hey, don't worry about that work, not a big deal. Or I might be like, hey, I really need you to do this assignment, but this other one, not so much. So that's part of them reaching out to me and making up the work. Extra help? Well, I'm available after school or during CE. You just have to click on that Zoom link you saw earlier and shoot me an email. Let me know you're going to be in there, and I'll be there. I'll do my best to help you out and just be fully available during those hours. Now, the big website is IXL. So let's go explore that. Now, IXL.com, 3 letters, type it in, brings you to this website. Couple things. One, make sure you're logged in. It's up here in the right-hand corner. So you're going to want to click on that, sign in. If you're not signed in, this is what it looks like. Okay? A lot of kids hit this remember button. If you hit the remember button, that's great. But after a few days, it's going to log you out. So sign in. Now, once you're in, okay, you hit learning. Then you go to math. Now down here, these are the tabs. So let me go back to my Schoology page and just show you what's going on. Now let's say your son or daughter forgot their login information. Well, you just click this tab right here. And then there is a PDF of all the usernames and passwords for this class. So you can find that right there. Now, let's find a homework so I can break this down for you. So within this, you'll see numbers, and then in here, these are what we're working on. So let's click absolute values and opposites. In here, you'll find the homework, okay? This tells you where it's at, so that's on an IXL. This tells you the tab, that's algebra, and then A2 tells you which one in there. This is the link on how to do it. So this is like the video of the class lesson, so you can watch that. So let's break this down. Algebra A2. So we scroll down here till we find algebra. We click it. Now A2. A stands for this letter here, and 2 stands for right there. Notice it says absolute values and opposites. Notice the title is absolute values and opposites. So everything should kind of match up. Now, once you're in it, you can click absolute value and opposites. Now, there's a couple parts in here. Questions answered, time. So this is what I was talking about. If they're spending more than 20 minutes, it records it. You should let me know that you're spending more than 20 minutes. And this is the big one, SMART score. So you're done when this reaches 80. So if you can't get to 80 and you got to 20 minutes, let me know. So when you answer questions, your SMART score goes up. So it says, what is the opposite of -7? You type it in. 10. I went up 10 points. What's the opposite of 8? -8. Now, the reason why we have to go to 80 is because it jumps levels. The questions get harder as we get further along. So that's why I want to go to an 80. So let's go back here to this. When we're in here, okay, this is how you know the most recent stuff. The most recent stuff is down at the bottom. So square roots was the most recent thing we did. Now, when I have another unit after that, that will be on the bottom here. So that'll be the most recent thing. So the older stuff's at top, the recent stuff's at bottom. That's how I'm going to organize it. And if you can't figure it out, shoot me an email. I'll walk you through it. So I get it. This year is going to be crazy, just like this scene with Jeff Goldblum. We're going to have to do our best. I'm going to throw some distractions like this flare. Okay, hopefully I can ward off the coronavirus. But listen, one thing you need to remember is I'm here for you. I'm doing my best to help you out. I'm going to do my best to help your son or daughter out. And I just want to make it fun so that they want to come to my class. But, you know, until everything's figured out, we're just going to figure it out together. All right? I look forward to working with your son or daughter all year. And don't be afraid to shoot me an email, give me a phone call, and say hi. Other than that, have a great night. Bye.